now that we are a week into National Football League training camp, Mike Florio, what is the item that's at the top of your list that you think will have the most impactful win-loss result in the playing season that does start a little over a month from now?
I mean, to answer your question literally, the one thing that we're all monitoring with the players on our favorite teams, the players on our fantasy teams, and you never know when that notification is going to come across your phone that someone suffered a serious injury. We're in that zone where you're kind of holding your breath for news that your favorite player is going to be out for the year, and who's been carted off here and who's been carted off there, and how bad is the injury. The Cowboys had a scare yesterday with Tyler Guyton. At first, they thought he had a torn ACL. It turns out it's a fracture that'll keep him out 4 to 6 weeks, but that will impact the standings. And that's the thing. We spend 7 months talking about what could happen, what will happen, what may happen, who's closed the gap on whom, who are the Super Bowl candidates. But the one thing that we don't talk about, because we don't know who it's going to happen to, when it's going to happen to them, and how long they're going to be out, but we know it's going to happen, people are going to get injured. And one injury changes everything. One week one injury just completely potentially reverses a team's fortunes for that season. Look at the 2008 Patriots. That lightning strike, Bernard Pollard low hit on Tom Brady. He's out for the year. And even though they went 11-5, they didn't make it to the playoffs. And that was the first game after the loss to the Giants in Super Bowl 42 that would have been the perfect 19-0 season. So anytime, any place, there can be an injury that changes everything. And I think that, if you're covering the NFL, if you're paying attention to the NFL, that is the thing you're kind of holding your breath for as training camp becomes joint practices, becomes preseason games, and we work up until week one, when we know there's going to be that list after every weekend of games of guys who are going to be out 1 week, 1 month, or the rest of the year.
And then in terms of holdouts, right? One ended in Cincinnati, and it was the rookie Shemar Stewart. We've been talking for weeks about what can be done to bridge the gap. What was done to bridge the gap, Mike?
Well, and it was something, Rich, that could have been done a long time ago. And this is basic negotiation.
Yeah.
When you come to Shemar Stewart and say, we want to use language that will void your guarantees, that is different from the language we used on last year's first-round pick, Amarius Mims, different from the language we used just a few months ago with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. We've got new language we're going to use, and you're the guinea pig. You're the one that's going to have this. Oh, and we're not offering you any other concession in order to get you to do this. Ultimately, what do? They offered a concession. They paid more of his signing bonus up front than they otherwise have paid to first-round draft picks. That was it. That's all it took. A simple little face-saving quid pro quo. But there's a stubbornness to the Bengals, and it's rooted to a certain extent in money. But I think the deeper issue, Rich, is power. The team wants the players to understand who's in charge. We own the machine. You are just a piece in the machine who inevitably will be removed and replaced with someone else. The machine will survive for decades, if not centuries, beyond your existence. That is the message. So we are not bending to you. You will bend to us. And that's why I think the pressure, the urgency to get a deal done that comes from a normal holdout isn't going to affect the Bengals. They don't care. Hey, Trey Hendrickson, you want to pay us $50,000 a day to hold out a training camp? Fine, we'll take your money. Hey, you want to give up your game checks of nearly $1 million a week? Fine, we'll keep your money. We don't care. We're not going to panic. We're not going to blink. You stay home until you decide to show up. And that's why I said back in June, Rich, before mandatory minicamp, if he goes down this path of staying away, he's potentially going to be this year's Hassan Reddick, who missed everything, missed regular season games, and then there was some awkward face-saving deal when he showed up that really didn't give him anything close to what he'd lost. And by the end of the day, you lose millions. And what do you prove? What do you ultimately prove if you're Trey Hendrickson? So who knows where that stands? But my guess is they are not nervous because they ultimately don't care. They'd rather have the message sent to the player than have the player in training camp getting ready for the season.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.